Good morning. Today is January the 2nd, 2023. A bit of a more sentimental journey this morning. I was looking for, you saw my broken cup yesterday, and I was looking for the super glue today. Sorry, I was looking for it yesterday. I thought I'd ran out, but you never know. It's maybe it's in that drawer, maybe it's in that drawer, that kind of thing. Anyways, I stumbled onto something which I don't know. It brought back memories of my grandmother, my Muma, as I knew her. Um, these are them. They're basically pot holders. I think you know what I mean, like for taking stuff out of the oven or pots on the stove. The thing is, this is my grandmother's, my Muma's handiwork. You see, it's a gorgeous rose. It's a crochet, if I'm not mistaken. She had this hobby, my Muma. And by the way, I'm not 100% sure. I know her as Muma. Some of my siblings call her Micah. I always thought the difference was on the mother's side it's Muma, and on the father's side it's Micah. What do I know? That's how I took it, anyways. And it is to me it's interesting to hear them refer to her as Micah when for me she was Muma. But that's just a little bit of a side. I don't know. It is what it is. Anyways, my grandmother, my Muma, she used to do these crocheting projects, hobbies. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know that she passed it on to my mother because I don't remember my mom doing it, but I do remember my grandmother, with the needles, and crocheting and whatnot. She used to make these baskets, fruit baskets. I'm guessing they were of, the crocheting pattern, whatever it's called, the crocheting stuff. I'm sorry, I can't think of the word. Her hobby was. Anyway, she would make these baskets, and they were white as I remember them, and they had these, around the sides. They had these little tiny roses, and not like these. These roses are a little different. They're a little flatter, but I think that's um, for when you're holding it, you're not burning your hand when you're taking something warm out. That's what I figured. By the way, I do not use these as warming. I do not use this for the utilitarian reason that they were made for. For me, they're sentimental. They remind me of my grandma. I don't know. So I don't know that you can tell, but it's not just cloth or yarn or wool or whatever the material is, but there's also some kind of I think they're coated with some kind of uh, not asbestos, but asbestos, if you know what I mean. Something to so it doesn't catch fire, and so that it doesn't lose. Because these would have had to be made 50 years ago, between 50 and 40. Well, you know what I mean. Like, these are heirlooms as far as I'm concerned, and I'm so glad that they're still around. I just wanted to sorry, but getting back to the bowls. Sorry, getting back to the bowls. She would make these bowls, and then when they were done, and she would do them on a bowl, like a serving bowl, and so it retained a form, and then she would uh, paint it with sugar, let it sit, and when it was done, you had this basket. Now it stayed in form, and you could use it was utilitarian. You could use it to put stuff in, fruit, whatever, and it actually had substance and strength. And I do remember those around the house, and I do remember her actually doing it, and it was her hobby. And her and I had an interesting moment. I grew up on a farm, and we had produce that we sold at the piat, as we call it, the what do you call it? Farmers market, outdoors. But it was actually indoors. But is that kind of a deal? And my parents would drop off me and my grandma. We would sell the wares, and of course, my grandma had her baskets. She always had these baskets for sale. I do remember that they sold, and I do remember that me and my grandma, that was always on her left. Me and my grandma were a bit of a we were noticed. I do remember people taking pictures of us. And I was her translator, by the way. Like that, she of course only knew Romanian, and I was her translator, and it was cool. It was me. It was time for me and my grandma to spend time together, and I remember these moments like 40 years ago in the past. I remember them very fondly. I remember her very fondly. And I do remember having these moments. I don't know. She was very cute. She was kind of my best friend growing up. I don't know. She always had my back. She was always, and we always had this dynamic between us, which I think is sort of cool. I think there's even a couple of, maybe if I remember, there might be even a picture. I don't go through photo albums and stuff like that, but they are here. Maybe one of these days I will. Maybe if I'll ask if my siblings don't mind if I snatch a family heirloom or memento for myself, because I don't. It's funny. You find something, and it brings it all back. It brings her back, brings her memory back, brings my youth back for a time when I was young, and when I was very young. And I'm so happy I have this. I'm pointing to her as if she's here, but that's how I feel. Like, she is and was a very important person in my life. Unfortunately, she passed when, I'm guessing, I was maybe 11 or 12 when she passed, and it was one of those shocking moments of, there was before and after. People had gone to the hospital, in my world, in anyone's world, and they came out better. That was my world up until this event. And poor woman, she slipped and fell, as I remember it. She slipped and fell, uh, broke her hip, maybe, if I remember correctly. And she was in hospital for 3 days. As far as I know, the prognosis was fine. She should recover. She was only in her late 60s, if I remember, as I remember. But then she had a heart attack, and I lost my grandmother when I was a kid. It was, that was my first pain that I felt. That's when the passing of someone else affected me. And of course, that's the circle of life. And it is what it is. But I do have the memories. I do have a memento from her. I really wish I had one of those baskets, but I don't. Instead, I have her handiwork like this. Since I've come in possession of them, I've done what I can to keep them as pristine as I can. That's why they were in the drawer, not because I don't want them visible, because I want them preserved in the best quality that I can, because it's my grandmother's. Anyways, a little bit more sentimental today. It is what it is. That's what's going on behind the patch, of course. And I will talk to you guys later. Hope you have a good day. Good day.